welcome back. We will soon have some nice decks and matches coming up here.
Yeah, so we have round one, Rask, which we followed during deck building, as well as Christian Åhlström, a good friend of Loves. The two have been playing together for a very long time, and I believe they also play test together. So we don't actually have deck lists for them, for the two of them for this first round. Oh, here we go, we're underway. And we seem to have mulligans on both sides. So both players going to 6 here. We can't really tell who won the die roll. I believe this is still a play first format, even though the general consensus is that it's more viable to play to draw first and sealed. I believe that the upside of being the one with untapped mana on turn 5, when you are able to flip up your morphs, is a fairly large advantage, as well as obviously the prevalence of just straight aggro decks in the format. So we had a quick look at Christian's list. Luva obviously we covered during deck building. It was Christian is playing a deep blue Jeskai aggro build with some fairly strong cards, such as he does have the Torrent Elemental, one of the absolutely best cards in the entire format. The 3/5 that taps down the entire opposing team, and also is quite difficult to get rid of if you're in the correct colors. Christian doesn't actually have the mana, I believe, to activate the ability, but I don't think that will be relevant during this game. He also had a Mantis Rider and a Master of Pearls, so he is definitely playing some very strong Jeskai colored rares. He's also splashing black for 2 Ponyback Brigades.
Which fits great with his Master of the Pearls.
Absolutely, it's a very strong interaction. I generally really like the way he's playing out this with just splashing for the morphs, so that he never has dead cards in hand. So we're underway. Both players kept their 6th land, and we have a Jungle Hollow for Luveras going up to 21. Island go. So we can see. Let's see.
We see a Windswept Heath, an Island.
Dragon's Eye Savants, I believe.
And I think I see a Flock as well.
Yeah, so he's definitely got the early defense going. He opts not to play the Dragon's Eye Savants on turn 2, and instead keeps it for Morphine on turn 3, which I believe is definitely the right play. So Sultai Skullkeeper, milling 2, hitting both spells.
I think that is his only Bane Dragonfire.
Yeah, I think so too. He wasn't very high on removal. He has a Will of the Naga to get punch through some damage, but I think his removal suite was quite a bit worse than Luva's.
At the bottom we see the Grim Contest.
Ah, yes. Right, so we're fetching here, probably following him up with a morph. Now, if you were a Luva here, would you trade your morph or flip it up for the extra information? Seeing as how you do have another blocker on hand.
I will probably I don't know. I might just play the morph and trade.
Yep.
It's also kind of nice to have the information, but at the same time.
Yeah, you don't really know what your opponent is playing, but the fact that he's shown you these 2 colors as well as fairly mediocre 2-drop doesn't really tell you that much, except for that blue-white tends to be a fairly aggressive archetype, and obviously the Jeskai colored ones are are even more aggressive. Right, so Morph versus Sultai Skullkeeper, there seems to be some sort of communication between the players coming on. No, swing for 2. He blocks, passes priority, and he flips it, revealing his Monastery Flock. So we get a good look at his hand here. So it's got a Feat of Resistance, Will of the Naga, which he can't currently cast, as well as the Ponyback Brigade.
Yeah, Ponyback Brigade. Kind of a slow hand.
Yeah,
I'll say.
But I mean, he does have all of his colors and 2-drop and a morph. I think that it was a perfectly reasonable keep. But I think he will have difficulty punching through the.
Yeah, he doesn't have black though.
No, that's true.
So we can't flip up the Ponyback Brigade in any future.
No, and the shields are up here for Luveras.
I don't see what he's drawn. Is that a Lotus Path chain?
think it might be.
In that case, he has a very good turn 4. No, I think that's the Jeskai. All right, so Dousing Gloom for the morph, which he obviously is the opponent back brigade. Didn't draw another one. And then he's passes the turn back. So we see a Whisk Away, I believe, for Christian, which doesn't do a whole lot here.
Whisk Away.
And another, was that another Whisk Away on the other side?
Might be.
Can't quite tell. Right, so I believe he's got the 6-drop bomb in his hand. That's Jeskai Sage. The 1/1 with prowess, then when you die, when it dies.
When you die?
Yeah, when it dies you draw a card. It's serviceable. There's a lot of 2/1s in this format, as we can see.
Yeah, you can easily trade with a morph if you have a spell.
Yeah.
And still draw a card, which is good.
Yeah. And even if you don't have a spell, just the presence of it means that your opponent is unlikely to make any great aggressive attacks, because the threat of activation is significant.
Yeah, it also trades with Christian's threat.
Yeah. So land go, so nothing going on for Christian here, and he's got Will of the Naga, Feeder Resistance, and a Whisk Away in hand. So not really a great hand, not much action going on for the aggro player here. And we'll be going into the late game, and there's a Mistfire Adept. I think Love is quite firmly in control of this game, and I think it will really require some strong plays from Christian to dig himself out of this. He does have a lot of protection. If he could perhaps find his Torrent Elemental or a Mantis Rider and protect it, that could be.
I think Torrent Elemental will probably almost be huge here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good card. A 3/5 flyer would shut down all of the attacks on the opposing board.
Yeah, and also tap down if he ever needs to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Land go. So
he gets the black mana now.
Yeah, I believe he has another Pony Back Brigade. He has 2 Pony Back Brigades for which he's splashing black.
Well, in his deck at least.
Yes. So there we see. So we see, I believe Luva does have his Sage Eye Avengers in hand, but is missing the 2nd blue mana to play it, and obviously 6 land drop. So both of these creatures come in, and you jump. Right, so we'll probably see Feeder Resistance here.
Yeah. It doesn't have flying itself, so it can be blocked after all.
So here we see actually a fairly strong play from Luva, because obviously he gets a 2-for-1 from the Sandblast in case that he doesn't Christian doesn't have another play here. But there is in this format, I believe that Feeder Resistance gains a lot of value by using it pre-blocks, because, as we said, both Sandblast, Whisk Away, as well as Killshot, not obviously on blocks, but still the same principle applies. And as well as Ride Down, so there's quite a lot of cards that can punish you for blocking before you play your spell.
Yeah, as we saw here.
Yeah.
This is not looking good for Christian currently.
No, not at all. So he was already behind, and then has to take a 2-for-1. He's quite far behind now, and I don't see Luva's offense quitting anytime soon.
Draw the Åhlström, I think, which is going to be problematic for his opponent.
Yeah, nice insurance plan. And again, here we see he's had no reason to flip that 05 Monastery Flock, which means that he can keep going on the aggressive with it. Yeah. Which is the significant upside of having morphs in the format. So Whisk Away resolves.
Puts the card on top of his library.
Yeah.
He keeps swinging for 3 every turn currently.
Yeah.
This is looking great for Luva currently.
Absolutely. So he still has a lot of cards and a lot of action in hand. So here we see I believe that's a Pony Back Brigade in hand. So he hardcast Pony Back Brigade, no answer from Luva. This is something that I believe a lot of newer players may have made mistakes with early in the format with not hard casting your morphs enough. Very often, obviously now he's flooding out, so he wants to spend the mana as quickly as he can. But very often people will play morphs and then flip them up, even though they had the mana to hard cast them.
Well, a lot of morphs don't really give the effect if they're hard casted, but Polymorphic Gate is one of the few that actually does.
Absolutely.
And also, as you see, is very relevant here.
Yeah.
Luve opting not to attack.
Yes, we replaces Mistfire and passes the turn back, and here we see a Goblin Heel Cutter for 4, so he did not dash it. Oh, no. Yeah, he did not dash it. Which is, reasonable.
One of the better red commons, am I wrong?
Yeah, I would say it's probably the best red common, slightly ahead of Bathe in Dragonfire. But the two are fairly interchangeable. After these two commons, the red commons in Fate Reforged drops off quite significantly. In comparison to perhaps the blue commons, where the playability of the blue commons is quite deep, so most of them are actually playable, with the exception of perhaps Rakshasa Secret. So he's looking through the graveyard. So Christian has the Will of the Naga in play, or in his hand. So I believe that perhaps he's looking to set up some sort of combo attack, try to find his Monster of Pearls. Right now he doesn't have any real attacks. And now he'll start taking extra damage in the air from the Lord's Pathogen, as well as whatever the Mistfire Adept will give flying if he opts to do so.
That's about being a very, very good rare in this deck, at least.
Absolutely. The Master of the Pearl, there's a slightly cute interaction with it, where if you manage to manifest it, this is the same for the Keru Spell Snatcher as well as the Hooded Hydra. If you manifest it, you can actually flip it up for only 2 mana and still get the effect, which is quite powerful. Obviously, in this particular case, it doesn't matter, because Christian has all the mana he could possibly need.
Seems like they're having a little stalemate currently.
Yes, which definitely favors Luva, since he's getting in with damage in the air, as well as, I mean, he's still stuck on 5 lands, which means he's been drawing gas and spells this entire game, whereas Christian is playing, well, fairly mediocre. This here we see what happens with the aggressive deck when it doesn't really
work out.
Exactly, and the superior card quality of the 4-color control is really shining. So Christian quite flooded here, 8 lands in play.
Being the aggressive deck, that is not something you want to do.
And there, I believe that's the
damage backward, I think.
Yeah, so the second blue source he needs to cast the 6-drop in hand.
Will become active next round.
Yeah. And yeah, so as the 3 cards in hand: Outer End, Dismal Backwater, and the Sage Eye Avengers. So he's considering using the Outer End here, I believe. No, he just goes for the 2 damage.
I think he has narrowed down that Christian probably has a Nag in hand.
Yeah.
And maybe want to trigger some prowess before, try to avoid it being really, really good.
And the Outlast of the Merc Knight Blade suddenly becomes from an unimpressive 2/3 to a fairly impressive 3/4 with Death Touch, which is actually kind of difficult to handle without for Christian's board right now.
And more underplayed Outlast, I think.
Yes, absolutely. It's the Outlast is obviously better the cheaper they are. The creatures that outlast for only 1 mana are quite a bit stronger than the rest of them in general. But the 4 mana for the 2/3 is just slightly below curve before you get your first Outlast going. So it's not as strong as some of the others. It tends to go stronger in the Sultai builds, where you can use this in conjunction with perhaps the O4 to get some death touch 1/5.
Disowned ancestor.
Precisely. But the straight abs and decks with are usually slightly more inclined to play the cards that are better on curve. Obviously, the abs and falconers are fantastic, and as well as the 2-drop, the Einok Bondkin.
Do you think he will play the
Avengers? I don't see a reason why not to. I think he'll probably go in for 2 damage and keep up outer end in case there's. Here's the Will of the Naga, possibly. Yeah. Keeps up 1 mana, curiously enough. And here we see, again, he's respecting the 3/4 death touch, so that's not coming in for damage this turn. So he's representing a single blue or a single white, which can basically only be Swift Defiant Strike, I believe.
Or the Stubborn Denial.
Oh, yes.
Because he has a prowess creature, and that I think Rask is probably respecting that as well.
Yeah, true. Stubborn Denial isn't a really great card, and it's a fairly strange main deck choice, especially in these colors. If you can reliably trigger Prowess, or Ferocious rather, it gains quite a bit of value, but even then, a negate is for 1 mana is not really that main deckable in Limited. Obviously, it gains a lot of value in Sealed, where people will be playing their powerful removal, but I still don't think that Christian is playing one of in his main. Right, so
an island, I think I thought it was.
Yeah, of the soul summons manifesting.
So no dream here, no Master of the Power.
Unfortunately not. Yeah, there are quite a lot of these cards that in Fated Forge that are sorceries, but act as creatures essentially. There's Soul Summons. Right into Being is probably the best of them, as well as Ethereal Ambush, and the green and the red one are slightly worse, but they have basically changed the draft format somewhat, because Prowess is now a much stronger mechanic, because you can fill out your creature curve with cards that aren't actually creatures.
He has the blue one is probably the best one.
Yes,
the enchantment.
Yeah, the cloud form. We saw that in Christian's deck earlier. Alright, so we see an attack here. Trigger on the Sage Avengers.
Yeah, when it attacks, I think it says.
Yes, when it attacks, you get to bounce something with power less than it. So it bounces the Morph, the Manifest. So he gets to see what it is. It's an island. And utter ends the Heel Cutter. Trigger on the Mistfire, as well as the Prowess trigger on the Sage Eye.
I think he's probably making the Sage Eye fly.
Let's see, so it becomes a 5/6, correct? So yeah. I think actually he could be kind of okay trading it with his opponent's board.
That's true. So you're making the mist.
I mean, the opponent would be kept with a single goblin. Yeah, he made the Misfire Adept fly.
This is a good trade for Loba.
Yeah. Absolutely. Obviously, Christian gets to draw a card, which is slightly subpar, but he doesn't really have any action left on the board, this also negates all the when your opponent plays Ponyback Brigades in their deck, you sort of assume that they're going to play some sort of effect to pump them, such as Rush of Battle, or War Flare is probably the best one,
or the Trumpet Blast, or really anything.
Yeah. And being able to clear those cards out is probably it gives Love some peace of mind here. That's a very good card here.
This can maybe turn the tides of the battle.
Yeah, if anything. So
I think he flashed through lands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the scoop. So Christian flooding quite hard here. So going into game 2, how do you think that we'll see this player sideboard?
Well, I actually don't know. I think Luva had some Will of the Nagas. He might consider sideboarding, but not in this matchup, I don't think. He might take in the siege to be able to find answers quickly if his opponent get off hand. But I don't really know.
No, if I was, I believe that Luve should probably, will perhaps be looking at the Winds of Kalsisma. And again, since he saw the double pony back brigades, you sort of
you must be expecting a trumpet blast or any of that like mass pop effects.
Absolutely. As well as the Goblin Heel Cutter, so you can expect some pretty large chunks of damage coming out of your opponent's deck if it actually manages to draw well and function. So I believe the Winds of Kalsisma could be quite powerful. Do you know how many ways he has to trigger the Ferocious?
He has some prowess.
Yeah, both the
Misfire Depth
as well as the Sage Eye both trigger it. But if those cards are in play, then he's already doing quite well.
You also have the Rhino, the 5/4.
Yes.
I think he has.
Yeah,
he also
a few ways.
It takes its power, right? Ferocity.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, so,
power 4 or greater. So yeah, and he could be looking at that. I don't believe he'll be bringing in the more grindy cards such as the Rakshasa Secret or the Monastery Siege. I also had a chat with Love before the round, and he expressed a strong distaste for Monastery Siege. He thought it wasn't very good.
Well, yeah, I have to agree with him. He has, I mean, Frost Giant effect is all right, and the looting is also all right, but it's not. I would rather have like Monastery Flock or.
It does take up the 3-drop slot, which is the most easily filled.
I would rather play more, probably 9 out of 10 times, unless I'm playing versus the almost 5-color control deck. Then I'd rather have to be able to play Treasure Cruise.
Yeah. So. I would be surprised if there's any player, or rather we see any player choosing the Dragons mode on.
That is the Frost Giant effect?
Yes, this Frost Giant effect.
It can be good against like mass removal. I mean, the deck that plays a lot of removal.
Yeah, but even then, if they're playing a lot of removal, you'd rather grind them out if they're trying to 1-for-1.
Yeah.
So I believe functionally that card really only has one line of text.
Because they will play around it, they will never like walk into your effect.
No, exactly. So again, I think Winds of Kalsisma could be coming in. He did immediately dismiss it during deck building.
In worst case scenario, it's a fog, and it might save you a turn, and if he like goes fall out and you fog him, and then you can swing back and kill him maybe, or force him into like start playing defensively. You might win that way, and in best case you just like one-sided fog, and you can kill every one of his creatures, and they don't do damage to yours, which is really amazing.
Also, more relevantly, have to start talking about what do you bring out, because you're still trying to play for the card deck. Again, we did see the Whisk Away.
Does he still play Whisk Away?
I can't recall. We don't have the deck list. But if he does, playing Whisk Away against the double pony backs is not great. And the Goblin Heel Cutter as well. You still get the trigger before you are able to Whisk Away it, which can be kind of relevant. So in that case, I could see him taking out that. The Jeskai Sage was actually kind of strong this game.
Yeah.
You saw a 2-1 on the opposing side as well as another Jeskai Sage, and you're fine taking that trade because you're going to the long late game.
Yeah, I actually have no idea why he was ever. Maybe some hard-casted card.
Here we go. So we're underway. So we have the Disowned Ancestor which has been outlasted once, as well as a Dragon Bell Monk on the other side.
Dragon Bell Monk being a pretty good card.
It's decent. I think it's probably...
It's much better in draft than it is in sealed. I think.
And I still think it's worse than a morph, which says a lot. So yeah, here we go.
I kind of like it in Christian's deck, considering he has a lot of way to Trower prowess.
Yep.
And it also has vigilance, so yeah. Upside.
Right, so we see a Sandblast, and I believe I saw a Whisk Away earlier in Christian's hand. So he has some support for the...
He also has a Lotus Djinn, so he's just looking for the 4th land. He's looking really good. That is own ancestor being pretty good blocker, except when he gets sandblasted.
Yeah, but I think that if your 1-drop manages to trade for your opponent 3-mana removal spell, I think you're absolutely fine.
Also save a lot of life. You're really fine.
Yeah. So Luva, he does have the Monastery Flock here, as well as the Mistfire Adept, I believe.
Was there a cruise? Yeah, I think it is cruise as well.
Oh yeah.
So
did he have? Yeah, he had that in the main. That was his only.
The only delve card he chose not to play, Will of Naga.
Yep. Right. So Lotus Pathogen here. So if Christian attacks here, would you block if you're Luva?
Probably not. I think.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's just.
Yeah,
if he attacks,
it's a lot of unnecessary risk. And Warden of the Eye, bringing back Sandblast.
Now you're never blocking.
Yeah.
Unless you have something for it.
Yeah, that player there makes a lot more sense now.
I think I see Will of the Naga. No, that's a misfire.
Oh. Yeah, so Warden of the Eye bringing back the Sandblast so that he can reuse it for whenever Luva doesn't respect the open 3 mana from Christian. I believe that I don't really know how many turns that Christian will be tapping out. Now, awkwardly enough, he does have both Sandblast and Whiskaway in his hand.
Is that a Monastery Flock he morphed down?
I believe so. Either that or the Absan guy.
Absent guy is in his hand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I think he's trying to bait out the Sandblast now.
Yeah, probably.
And if his opponent pumps in another way, he can just morph it up.
Yeah, 05 survives most.
I like this. This is very well for Luva.
Yeah, absolutely. Trades for 3-drop for 3-drop. All right, so here we have Lotus Pathogens staring down each other, as well as a Jeskai student.
Battle of the Djinns.
Yeah, so I still, even though Luva is quite a bit behind on board, I still think I like him in this matchup.
He doesn't have a green mana for Absent Guide, does he?
No, but he can still morph it.
Yeah. I think he almost soon also can cruise. So I think I think that is also a reason why he choose to trade.
Yeah.
Because
getting cards in your yard is an advantage for him. Right. So here comes everything. So we know Christian has both Sandblast and Whiskaway. Luva knows he has the Sandblast. Which could mean that he accidentally plays around both, but I don't believe he will play around 2 spells.
No, I think he plays around the information he knows, which
absolutely.
is Sandblast. And he might try to bait it out to be able to play maybe an Absent Guard, something that will lock down the ground.
Absolutely.
The problem is that Christian has 2 flyers.
Yep.
Or the Master is a flyer. Am I wrong?
I think Luva has 1.5 flyer. Yes, the Misfire Adept can get flying or give flying, but Christian only has a single.
Yeah, the Lotus Path. Yeah.
Right, so Sandblast trades for Misfire Adept. So he
can cruise next turn, which is an alright play. I kind of like it. He'll probably find his green an Absent Charm.
Yeah, so if he does, then he's going to be tapping out, and we'll probably see a block on the Jeskai student next turn, because I don't think he'll wager a block on the Lotus Path.
Yeah, he's really low currently.
Yeah, 10 life and facing down. Well, Christian is kind of out of gas. He has a Whiskaway and 1 unknown card. I believe it could be a land. So if he can just use a few turns to stabilize, I think I would prefer to play a few lockers right now rather than Treasure Cruise, because you won't actually get the time to play out your cards. So you have an Absent Charm in hand, but no green mana currently. And is that a plus card captain?
He has 2. I think he has 2. He has an Absent Charm and Absent Guide, and then 1 more card. He finds the green mana and gets a life.
Yeah, as well as a gain land, which is great for him here.
I think he has to block this student here with the Djinn.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Hope his opponent doesn't have another Sandblast or a Mantis Rider.
Mantis Rider off the top.
That is great.
That's a fantastic, especially in this turn, because in the coming turns, then...
He's going to Whisk away this? You think he will?
Interestingly enough, Christian could whisk away his own Warden of the Eye. I don't think that will be the play. He's more interested in getting through the damage. But blanking the next draw step of Luva doesn't really do a whole lot after he's just filled up his entire hand with cards.
That's true.
So yeah, he opts not to play the whisk away, and just lets the damage resolve. So Luva goes down to 4 here.
I think he picked up a Grim contest.
Oh, yeah. So how many green cards does he have, and how many of them?
I think he has 3. I think he has also a Sandblast as well, so that is going to be good next turn. Probably taking out the Mantis Rider. Or the Djinn. No.
So he has 1... Does he have 1 or 2 white mana? Just 1. He's just had. So he can still only play 1 of the spells from his hand, right?
No, he can play both Sandblast and the Grim Harvest. No, Grim Contest.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Maybe he only has 1 black mana? No. Yeah, he has only black mana, I think.
So yes,
so
he's got enough mana to play. He has enough mana to play both. He could also play the I believe that's the Jeskai student, or the morph just to get an extra blocker in play.
Yeah.
Because if he Grim contests as well as blocks, he could be so he's gonna Grim contest on his own turn, trying to take out the Mantis Rider. So Christian just has his Whisk Away in hand, and that doesn't do a whole lot when the creature's not in combat. So that's a good play from Luva.
It's probably gonna block the Djinn here.
Then Dragonfire off the top. Is that lethal? Let's see. So he bathes the. Yeah, that's game.
Is it? Yeah, it is.
He can. Yeah, there we go. He can only bathe or rather take out one of the 3.
I can only Sandblast one of them.
Exactly, and then he takes 4 of the. No, 5 actually. The prowess trigger of the Jeskai student as well.
Did he have a card in hand?
No, I mean he played the. Right, so Luva here we see him. Here we go. Back to the booth on Phoenix. This is Victor.
Sure. Well. We saw how good the aggressive deck can be if it is actually aggressive.
Yeah.
Luva having problem with his last mana.
Yeah. More importantly, we did see 2 fantastic top decks from Christian, who was basically out of gas. He just had a single Whisk Away in hand.
Yeah, that's true.
And both of those cards enabled attacks, or rather very powerful attacks, which he otherwise wouldn't be available to him.
And the Sandblast being probably the the best card right in the game, at least.
Absolutely. So I believe we saw Luva taking out a whole lot of cards from his deck. I believe that he may be boarding into the Jeskai build that we saw him build on camera earlier, but not
really?
to. Yes. I spoke to him before the round, and he said he really liked it. He thought the curve was really great, and he was playing a lot of bombs. The mana, I think, was subpar of that deck.
It was kind of wacky. Because I think the cards was really white light.
Yeah.
And he had so much fix for white and so little fix for red. It was kind of hard to play it.
Absolutely, as well as the double red Ashcloud, not the Ashcloud, the Flamewake Phoenix.
Is it double red? It's 1 double red. Yeah. So you want to play it on curve.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So I'm not sure how much I like this, but we may be mistaken, obviously. But we did see Luva, or rather, Luva said he had a strong preference towards that kind of deck, and he said he wasn't really that comfortable with the grindy matchup, or rather the grindy deck that he had already built for. He thought the mana was better, but he also said it didn't fit him personally, or rather his style of play.
Yeah, sometimes you should play in your comfort zone, even in limited formats. It's probably more important in constructed, but still, play what you're comfortable with often is important, and
absolutely,
it might be his downfall if he plays a deck that he's not comfortable with.
Absolutely. But even then, I don't think we saw him make any real mistakes. I think he played very well that game.
I think his deck betrayed him, and his man as well.
Absolutely, I think he's a very strong player, and we'll see how his choice to possibly change the deck works out for him.
Maybe he can take down back to back. That would be first time here.
Yeah, quite impressive. Well, there's only been 3.
Well, okay, this is the 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rask, as we previously said, the winner of the third Scandinavian Open in Uppsala.
In Uppsala.
Yeah. So he's already been showing his prowess in the sealed format.
He won the last game of the finals by mulliganing down to 5, and then just drawing gas, and his opponent was stuck with 3 Rough Riders, I think, and and Marducharm and not having red.
That's quite impressive.
Which was his opponent actually went on to win the constructed event.
Yeah, okay.
Legacy. Nah, in modern, I mean.
Oh.
Which was I think he's coming tomorrow as well.
Yep. So is he playing players shuffling up for game 3 here? Yeah, we don't have any information about how the sideboarding went, but I suppose that if he has been boarding into the Jeskai build, he will betray that quite momentarily.
We finally see the siege.
Indeed.
Blue must be almost the worst siege of the green.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know how good the black one is.
The black one is... I think the blue siege is more okay to just include in your blue decks.
Yeah.
Compared to the black siege. The black siege is more expensive. It's also double black, which is relevant, and it really requires quite a grindy deck.
What are modes of the black siege? I have actually never played it. I've played
the first mode enables you to draw. Pick up a creature card from your graveyard at the beginning of your upkeep every turn.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Good.
And the second mode drains your opponent for 2 in every upkeep. So
do you get the life as well?
Yes, you get the life as well.
That is really good.
Yeah, but it's also you're also using an entire card on it, which could be a creature which would attack and block and
that is true,
do the same amount of damage.
I would like it in like removal heavy deck.
Yeah,
it can be really good if you just don't top deck anything.
Yeah. So the game is underway here. We see he did indeed board into the Jeskai build, and we see a Sultai Skullkeeper, aggressive 2-drop here.
Taking out the Whiskaway and an island.
Yep. So I think he had a feeder resistance. Is that a Tranquil Cove in play?
Yeah.
So he does have access to all 3 colors of his mana, which is very relevant. This deck of his was quite...
Leaping Master.
And more importantly, no 3rd land drop.
That is really, really terrible.
Yeah.
The 3rd land drop will be his next draw, but he unfortunately milled it over. And still no land drop. I think that was a...
Goreswine, perhaps?
I don't know.
I think it was a Goreswine. Perhaps Heel Cutter, I couldn't quite see. So the Morph blocks the Leaping Master, and it was Opponent Back Brigade. How do you like that trade?
I don't like it at all, but at the same time, Christian might not have any answers for a Leaping Master.
No.
And that is the new...
Mardu Woe Reaper.
Yeah.
It's essentially, it's functionally a 2-drop, or rather it does the same.
Might game him 1 life this game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes it slightly harder for your opponent as well as perhaps yourself to use delve spells, but that's really not why you're playing the deck.
You may, so it's fine.
Absolutely. But even then, the 1 life could be more important than the potential playing of delve spells. So here we see Sandblast taking out the 1 drop.
He has a Fatal Resistance in hand, which I think he will play here.
Yeah, absolutely. The tempo is he gets.
Yeah, I think he just has to.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't have any other play, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have any other play.
Yeah, so Feeder Resistance saves the Woe Reaper from the Sandblast. It comes in for 5 here. Christian drops to 12, I believe.
Yeah.
And
do you think?
Torrent Elemental, that's gonna be a tough one. So, but I think we do have a Heel Cutter in hand.
And I think he picked up a Wilden Naga.
Well, I thought that was a Mistfire Adept.
I misfired him. I always get those 2 wrong.
Yeah. So the only play he has available here is playing the face-up Dragon's Eye Savants, which is really not where you want to be if you're playing an aggressive deck. It can't even block the Torrent Elemental because nothing in the format can block Torrent Elemental.
Do you understand how good it would be if he got the 3rd land?
Yeah, because he could
morph.
More importantly, he could just dash in the Goblin Heel Cutter, I believe he has in hand.
Yeah, and the Torrent Elemental becomes kind of useless for blocking then.
Yeah, and
still a good attacker still.
Yeah. So Christian, curiously enough,
he found the 3rd land.
Yeah, but it's a tap source, so he's not going to have any other play this turn.
Well, it's still better than he has had currently.
Absolutely.
Earlier.
Absolutely. So Christian interestingly opts to trade 3 damage for potential 5, and leaving up 6 mana. If you're Luva, do you still just attack here?
I think you still attack here. If it has something, you take it away for later on.
Yeah, and he calls the bluff. Here we go. It's channel harm.
It prevents damage from you and deals it to another one.
Yes, you as well as creatures you control. So
that is really good.
Yeah, it's a very, very powerful effect. Trading it for a 1-drop is perhaps not really where you want to be. He could have had functionally the same effect by leaving home the Torrent Elemental, except
I think Christian might be afraid that Luva can kill the Torrent Elemental. Maybe he doesn't have enough sources to be able. Yeah, it can come back from exile, so.
Exactly.
Still.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the mana for it. You need black or green mana to bring back the Torrent.
He has 1 black, I think. For Ponder Brigade.
Yeah. I believe he's running 2 black sources, so technically it could be. But I don't think that will happen during the course of the day. More importantly, I think Christian is flooding out here. We see him; he hasn't missed a land drop yet, and he's up to 7. Oh, so here's the Ashcloud Phoenix.
He's gonna get whisked away.
No, it's a Crippling Shield.
Do you attack with the 2-1 here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to get in all the damage you can.
Your opponent is at a 6 turn clock then.
Yeah, so especially since before you show the haste creature, your opponent's plan was most likely to Crippling Shield the 2-drop, so it's unlikely he'll have another one. So
I think Christian might have a feed resistance in his hand.
That's I believe he has one in his deck.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how powerful that would be. If Luva is gonna go for the dash the heel cutter plan. That could really actually be kind of a blowout.
Find another land. Does he have I think he might be able to play his heel cutter. Hard cost his heel cutter might be pretty good.
Yeah, but
he might have a path a Lotus Path Djinn in his hand as well, which would be a really good pickup.
Yeah, he does have the Mistfire Adept, which I believe would be the superior play if he does opt for a 4 mana play. But really, just dashing. Of course, the Ashcloud Phoenix is still tapped, so perhaps this isn't the best turn to be dashing. But the surprise of the Goblin Heel Cutter can actually just wreck some boards. So,
let's see what happens.
Okay, we see attack here.
This might go terrible for Luva if he tries to Sandblast it.
Well, he doesn't have the mana, right? Oh, it's a Monastery Flock. Yeah, alright, so perfectly reasonable blocker there for Christian.
Yeah, so Monastery Flock is a really good blocker.
Yeah.
You think he hardcast Misfire Adept here?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So next turn, what can we see him playing? He doesn't actually have any cards to trigger prowess, right? Well, he just has creatures in hand.
He have a heel cutter.
Yeah.
I think he might have
as well as a Sandblast.
Sandblast is really good.
Yeah. So he could.
And he might have a Jeskai Charm. I'm not sure, but I think I saw something of those colors.
That's possible. We do know Christian has a Jeskai Charm in his deck. But
it's Christian who had a Jeskai Charm, of course. Yeah. Jeskai Charm being really good.
Yes, it's interestingly enough, it's not really not that strong in limited compared to how it's been doing in constructed. Obviously, it's constructed.
I don't know if he's played that much anymore, but it was really good. Back in the day.
Yeah, in the early count standard.
Yeah, both in the burn deck and the tokens deck.
Yeah, the third mode being the most relevant for limited for the most part.
Yeah.
Because you can build a sufficiently consistent burn deck in limited. The 4 damage to an opponent is nice upside, but rarely why you're playing the card.
You're often playing either the unconditional whisk away or the pump, which is usually what you get.
Absolutely,
you can attack and just gain a bunch of life.
Yeah. Right, so in we see just
here's comes Sandblast, and I think he's letting it die.
Letting it die.
Swine. Okay, well he has Ferocity now.
Yeah.
With the Swine, which is really good.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought he was gonna Sandblast the blocked creature, and then he's gonna get blown out by the Feat of Resistance if I have if I see the cards correctly.
Yeah.
In Christian's hand. That is
Lotus Babjin, so he's starting to build up a fairly strong board here.
Yeah, but the Luva has still managed to somehow stabilize the board. He had a terrible start, and now it looks all right for him at least.
Well, I don't actually think he had that. I mean, for missing several land drops, I believe he was actually quite far ahead in the game in comparison.
Because, that's true.
I mean, Christian has been struggling to and finally is stabilizing the board. So a heel cutter as well as an Ash Cloud Phoenix could be coming in here, which would be a great attack if not for the feeder resistance.
Feeder resistance making it really uncomfortable.
Okay, so
he's hard casting it.
Yeah,
I think he might be anticipating the feat of resistance.
Yeah,
because that will still be a blowout.
Yeah, so Christian counting out his blockers right now and trying to figure out how his next attack step is going to be.
Torrent Elemental making him the king of combat.
Absolutely. Well, interestingly enough, the thing with Torrent Elemental is that it really kind of solves a lot of combat math for your opponent, because all of a sudden you're only racing. As long as Torrent Elemental is attacking, you have no reason to stay home with any of your creatures. And 3 damage is very raceable.
So you can use the swing your cards, windmill them almost.
Yeah, I mean, Torrent Elemental, obviously a fantastic card. It's very, very strong, but I would absolutely not call it unbeatable, even in combat. Tapping down your opponent's team is not that great, because that means you have to be attacking. I mean, if you're behind on board like Christian is right now, both on board and in life total, I don't think that's really an effect that does very much for you. As we've seen, he's not been using it for the last few turns because he has to keep home another blocker.
Was there Will of the Naga finally in Luva's hand?
But no second blue source to cast it. So
yeah.
So here we again see
I think he's trying to build up some turns, because that card can really solve his combat math.
Yeah. So Ash Cloud Phoenix. And
he's going to attack with a team.
So it would seem.
Do you think he's going to...
It's kind of strange to stay home with the Skullkeeper, because it's not going to do anything anyway on blocks.
Yeah, I don't understand that play either.
No. And if your 2-drop trades for a card or... Right, here we go. So feeder resistance, protection from red, presumably, to make sure that the Torrent Elemental can still block.
But he can get really... He can... If he blocks the misfire in depth, he could get sandblasted, but he's not going to get it.
Well, he can still get sandblasted after damage.
Well, he doesn't do that much because he has protection from red.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah. I forgot about the counter from the feeder.
I think you might. Yes. Yeah, I think you might save your heal cutter here with sandblast.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting rid of the Lotus Babjin and keeping the heal cutter effectively means your opponent has 2 less blockers next turn.
Yeah.
Which is quite important right now.
Yeah.
Here
I think that is a correct play.
Yeah. So yeah. There we see the Sandblast.
Was it on the Torrent Elemental, or was it?
I believe it was on the Lotus Babjin.
Because obviously, if it is on the
the
Torrent Elemental, that is not good. Yeah.
No.
Why did he do that?
Oh yeah, no, he did play. So we see a mistake from Luva here. The protection from red still being applied, as well as the 6 toughness.
Yeah.
So he did sandblast the Torrent Elemental, and that might actually be a
that misplay might be HB game.
Yeah. So and here we see a Manus Rider. I believe he just drew that, and
Luva might still be able to snatch his game if he can set up a good turn.
Yeah.
But
so let's see. He's got a 2-turn clock here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see. So Christian is at 9 right now. I mean, there could still be some sort of combo finish coming, but there's no. Oh, so if that had been a blue man, I could have. Let's see. That's.
He could have played Will of Night, of course, but I don't know if he could. I don't know if he can climb back from this game. This looks very terrible for him.
No, I think the game is also Vault Breaker. Did he play a land this turn?
No.
So if no, never mind, because he can't play a land in combat, obviously. Since if he was able to cast the Will of the Naga, he could actually still be in the game. But
he has pressure point though.
Oh,
pressure point being really good.
Yeah. So if he, let's see, now both unfortunately all of the
can he go for kill here? No,
don't think so. All of the opposing blockers are actually flying as well, so he can't gain through some extra damage by giving them triggering the Misfire Adapter and giving the Vault Breaker flying. Unfortunately.
But he can give the Skull flying and be able to block the Mantis Rider.
Yeah.
Which is relevant with pressure point.
Yeah.
And I think he will survive. He will only take 2 or 3 at max.
Yeah. So Vault Breaker comes through for 4 damage. The Phoenix gets eaten, and he has double red mana, so he can both play the Vault Breaker next turn as well as bring back the Ash Cloud Phoenix. So alright, so here we see pressure point.
And it's an island.
Oh.
He might actually be able to do this.
Oh, so we see Luke is still in the game here. Christian has 4 life, and
the question is, do you block with the Skull here? Do you need it to be able to kill? You don't really.
I don't think so. I mean, the Misfire Adept itself is lethal.
You kind of want your opponent to attack here, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that has flying, though. I don't think
he might have given it with the Misfire.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Love has lethal on the board, or rather, if he plays his Will of the Naga,
does it correctly.
Oh, there. Oh, so Christian gains both 1 life from his land drop and another.
Well, it depends what he draws on the top.
Yeah.
He could still be in the game. He can tap down. He can still make the Torrent Metal not be able to attack.
Yeah. So, but seeing as only 2 of these are flying, so let's see, can he actually get in for enough damage to back through here? He has a Vault Breaker in hand, which he's gonna dash.
To be able to loot, and also it is a threat. Also,
yeah. So if he dashes the Vault Breaker as well as plays the Ash Cloud Phoenix, the Flamewake Phoenix from the Ferocious.
He's doing combat math.
Yeah.
Does he have the kill? I don't know. How big is Vault Breaker?
The Vault Breaker is a 4/2.
Okay.
So he can have 2 4 power creatures, one of them flying with the Will of the Naga play.
And he can tap down 2. He can only have 1 blocker.
Yeah.
I think he might have lethal here.
But he needs to come through with 2, so I think he can do 6 damage, right? If he taps down.
Doesn't he have the Flame Wake as well?
Oh yes, the Flamewake Phoenix comes out of the board.
So the two smallest ones do
4 exactly. So he can only block 1 of the 4 power creatures, and then if he brings back. Oh, does he forget about the?
He might forget.
If he's in.
He might have another play in mind than we do.
All right, so he's just dashing in the Vault Breaker and fastening the turn back. Alright, so perhaps we were mistaken on our combat math, or perhaps Love didn't see that line of play.
Let's see, he blocks the... Yeah, he might have another idea what to do.
So he uses Will of the Nag on the opposing turn instead.
Taps down the Tornamental, he must take down Tornamental.
Yeah,
and the Mantis
Rider.
Yeah. He must give something flying, right?
Oh, he doesn't have to, but yeah, absolutely. So Christian doesn't really have any attacks here, so it's just fogged for a turn. And
yeah,
Christian,
I think he might have to give the Dragon Eye 7s flying and block something.
Well, yeah, or rather just to make sure. I mean, make sure that Christian doesn't get in for any more damage this turn.
Yeah.
So Jeskai Sage, and we believe that Christian's hand is just a mountain. So,
Jeskai Sage being pretty good here still.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another blocker.
Yeah, he has to block it at some point at least.
Yeah.
He can take the 1 damage or maximum 2 damage, but at the same time, it can be scary. The Bolt Breaker probably making another appearance here.
Yeah. Again, coming showcasing how loot is quite a powerful effect when you're desperately trying to search for answers.
It's a normal loot effect, right? It's,
no, it's you have to discard first, I believe.
So it's
It's a rummage.
rummage. There are 2 of them. There's also the white.
Yes.
3-1 has
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Remember that, people.
So that's Barrage of Boulders. Interestingly enough, yeah. So next,
Yeah, turn Elemental won't untap next turn.
no, it won't.
So-
nor will Mantis Rider. But he won't actually have. No, he will have Ferocious due to the on the Mistfire Adept. So let's see. So that's 4, 5, 6,
They
7,
can't
8.
block. They can't block this turn, right?
Oh.
Oh,
There was
and
so
the
Jeskai. Yeah,
Architect-
Jeskai Charm off the top for 4 damage to the Lewis face. He shows the Barrage of Boulders, which would be lethal for Christian on the next turn. So
and Christian takes it home.
very tight game here.
I don't know if did he miss the line of play? Did he have
I'm not
the-
sure actually.
I think I have to count that out later.
Absolutely. Regardless, it was a very close game indeed. Coming down to the very last
The
2
very
top
last
decks
turn.
from both players actually. So I think how
Didn't he have a tap land in his hand?
I think it was a mountain. Oh, you mean Louve?
Yeah, I think he did.
If he did, he's
Yeah,
gonna be kicking
I
himself right
think
now.
I think he might have looted it away, but yeah.
Oh, that was,
He didn't see the Jeskai Charm any of the games,
absolutely
but
not.
he might have saw him. He might
No.
have to think about it.
No, and in that situation, you're more likely to play around a card like Arrowstorm. You haven't really seen the deep red from Christian.
Yeah.
But Arrowstorm is a common and a card that you're more likely to be aware of in at least from Triple Task Draft, and that deals 5 damage. So the
I have to check the footage later to see if he had the tap land hand, because that would be
Absolutely.
really annoying.
Absolutely. So how do you think the choice to go Jeskai instead of his usual abs or 4-color build worked out for him? Obviously, he did miss a few land drops in the beginning.
he missed a few land drops. I like the Jeskai deck more. I think he seemed a lot more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Even if he might have missed the play, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
But we also did see his very awkward mana. I mean, he did keep a hand which he had on 2 lands all 3 colors of his mana, which is more than you can expect from a
I mean,
deck like
if he
this,
had
I
drawn
believe.
a third land like on the 3rd turn and maybe stuck on that for as long as he did on the 2nd land, or even longer, he would still probably might have won it, because he had,
Absolutely.
I think he had 2 morphs and he also had a Sandblast and he had a lot of things. And if it was even an island, which if he hadn't played the Skull, he would have. He also had I Will of Naga a lot earlier, and that would have won him the game probably. So yeah, but also his opponent flooded out. His opponent had
both games
12
actually.
man, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Does he play 18 lands or does he play 24?
Yeah. So and we didn't really see any kind of corner draw effects from
we
Christian either, though.
didn't even see the Monster in the Power. I wanted to see Ponybreath Brigade into
The
Ponybreath
Monster
Brigade
Repel.
into Trumpet Blasts in form of a creature,
Yeah.
of course, and just killing.
Yeah, that is a very powerful interaction, and most likely the reason for why he's actually splashing the
He
two
didn't have
Rex.
the holding outburst. That would be
No.
amazing.
And I think even if he did have them, I'm not sure he would play them with his mana base. His mana base was significantly more conservative than Lewis, I believe.
Yeah, but he might only play one Ponybreath because he had a lot of prowess, which it's pretty good to trigger prowess.
Yeah.
At least when you have like 2-drop and 3-drop, which has prowess. The Jeskai Sage, I think it's called.
Jeskai Sage as
and
well as the Dragon Bell Monk.
Yeah.
So I think that I really like Christian's decision to go really heavy blue, as we saw most of his cards in the deck are actually blue.
Tournament being amazing. Did it come out 2 games or only 1?
No, just the 1.
Yeah, it probably. I think it gave him like 80 damage at least.
Yeah. So I think both players played fairly strongly that game. Even though we may have missed the line of play in the third game.